I am making you a screencast video so that you have further oral directions surrounding the first annotated bibliography assignment. I have to apologize, I felt a little rushed on the second class that we had this last week, and I wanted to give you some thorough background to setting up this signature assignment called Annotation Bibliography. So for one, my colleagues and I in the entire program have behind the scenes agreed that we want to make sure that all of you have an opportunity to do a lot of reading because teachers are intellectuals and teachers do intellectual work by reading a lot about their about pedagogy and theory so that they can better inform their practice. And because you're going to do a lot of reading, not just in my class, but throughout the entire 3 semesters, the 3 terms that you're here, we want you to stay organized and to keep a library of all of your readings. And that is simply put an annotated bibliography. Now, there's a lot of different understandings around annotation bibliography, and I just wanted to come together with, a really common definition, and it's down here. So scroll down. I really appreciate Purdue University's website because I've used them for years surrounding their definitions and approach to references and making sure that you are good with your citations. They have such a wonderful resource on their website. And I really like, and I think this resonates with most people, that simply put, an annotation is a summary or an evaluation of everything that you're reading, and that you keep all of your citations written in our program. We use APA 6th edition. Of course, there's other types of conventions like MLA, some of you have heard of. So sorry about that. I think my little email was going off. So the annotation is that. And essentially, an annotation requires this kind of thinking work. You have to be able to summarize, assess the article, which means evaluate, and do some kind of reflection work. And that really are the key hallmarks to an annotation. And you do that briefly. It doesn't have to be pages and pages and pages. Now, while again, I really respect my colleagues and we want a shared understanding in our entire program around when we say annotation bibliographies, what we're essentially saying is, are you being aware of the articles that you're reading and know this APA 6th edition citation for that? Are you keeping all of your citations in an organized folder throughout the program? And are you summarizing, assessing, evaluating, and reflecting on that reading? And that can look as simple as keeping some notes and quotes from your readings throughout this experience. And so I put this down there because that's more of the traditional common definition that you're going to find, and hopefully that resonates for a lot of you. Maybe you've come across this in your other studies. But where I make a little bit of a different, I have a different opinion about this, is while I want you to do this work, I also want to, especially in the context of this ITE 401 class, Engaging Adolescent Learners, I want you to be able to have an opportunity to play with some reading strategies, comprehension strategies / discussion strategies, and writing strategies that you can actually use as a teacher with your 6th through 12th graders. And I hope you will appreciate that. So that's why my annotation bibliographies come with this extra stuff, because I really want to apprentice you into a toolkit of, again, of these what we call literacy strategies that essentially get you to do all of this thinking. They get you to still summarize, assess, and reflect, but in more, what I think are more engaging ways, different ways to interact with the text. So again, some of my other colleagues might do some similar things, and some of my colleagues follow a more traditional annotated bibliography. And I just don't want that language to confuse you throughout the program. So for this first reading response, I thought And I like to match the literacy strategies with the different types of articles and videos that you'll be viewing. So for this coming assignment, you're reading the Doug Buell and the Yetta Goodman article, again, here in APA 6th edition citations here. And with the Doug Buell, he's a former social studies teacher. I think you'll really enjoy his stuff. And remember I said for our first couple weeks, we're really unpacking the concept of identity. And I think we also need to look really clearly at discipline identity, and all of you represent the different disciplines in this interdisciplinary class. So I want you to pay attention to not only your own discipline. So if you're math, you're going to extra pay attention to that, but it's also important for you to be aware of all of your discipline identities. And that's why I really like his figures, and that's why I pulled them out of, you're welcome to print the article and write right in it, but I pulled these out of the article, so pay attention to how Doug Buell teaches you to interact with these figures. Read his examples, and then do your own. And in particular, he talks about James G. I worked with James G. I know James G. from working with him at Arizona State University. He's a phenomenal scholar who I just absolutely love the way he talks about identity theory, and he breaks it down into these 4 categories that we have: our nature, our institutional, our dispositions, and our affinity. And we already heard 3, your name identity, and 3 of your identity bag items this past week, but I want to know even more about you. So this is just about peeling like the onion, like more and more layers about your life that you'd be willing to share. And then you also want to reflect on, so you read. And I want you to have an expansive notion of reading. Like, are you a surfer? Do you read the moon tides? Do you read the waves? It doesn't have to always be print text. Maybe you're reading music. So tell me what your additional identities are beyond the identity bags, and dig a little bit deeper. So I want to see this chart filled out, as well as, again, Doug Buell will teach you about the reader profile, choice versus obligation text, and using his examples. Please fill this out. And then you're going to just simply go through this disciplinary reader profile and let me know, okay, like for example, I love literary fiction, so I consider myself pretty competent to very highly confident on literary fiction. Now, when it comes to math, I sometimes struggle to. Sometimes I would say I range. It depends, to avoid at all costs, depending on the level of math. So just quickly fill out this chart. And then once you're finished with that, I want you to chronicle your literacy identity and discipline identity in a timeline, which again, I think timelines are so fun to use with your own 6th through 12th graders. Think of ways that you can adapt these in your own classroom, but have fun on your own, thinking from birth to your present day, at least experiences. And again, pay real close attention to the articles. Yetta Goodman is going to walk you through multiple paths to becoming literate, and she talks a lot about different experiences that can happen in one person's life. So reflect on that reading and connect it to your own stories. Again, going back to our field experience where we talked about how stories are so important. And make your timeline. Some people will say, I know I'm doing this wrong. There's no way you can mess up a timeline. I don't mind if you just draw it out. Some people do a PowerPoint or Google Slides, Prezis. You can even find free timelines that are online. This one is kind of old, so check it out, or some people haven't liked it. I don't want you to you are not required to do anything online for this assignment, so please don't let the technology take hours of your time if you're not familiar with the tool. That's not the point. The point is as simple as just drawing out this type of timeline and starting to chart significant times in your life where you think it was promoting a lot of literacy growth, and why. And so then you want to, once you write a timeline, because that's so simple to do, you want to create like paragraph to 2 paragraphs, a very brief description of what occurred. You can do this exactly like I have done here. Some people in a PowerPoint will write it in the notes. Again, as long as it's somewhere where I can find it, you're not doing that wrong as far as the formatting. I just want you to, what's really going to separate the A's from the B's and the C's is you're got to prove to me that you connected to the readings. I want to see Buell and Goodman cited. Directly quote or indirectly quote them as you were making strong connections. For example, here is what I would call uh, um, a good response. So it says, after completing Buell's reader profile, I realized how my life events shaped my literacy activities. So it's really showing me, or any reader for that fact, that you already are saying that Buell influenced your thinking. And this one says, for example, in fourth grade, my parents divorced. This was a difficult time. So now I'm learning a little bit about this person. Um, However, I started journaling in a notebook every day and how to deal with my emotional pain. This writing practice helped me deal with my feelings. Now that I reflect, this events helped influence my love for sociology and psychology. That's why I want to teach social studies. Again, Doug Buell is talking about why you might be in your discipline area, and certain life events definitely influence that. So this person is showing me why they want to teach social studies and how that might be the case. Now, Buell, and then what's really powerful here is Buell validates this fact that our own life experiences, such as divorce, shaped my literacy and discipline identity. So this becomes critical for me to understand where you read in the reading, how that connected to your response. Same with here. Again, notice how Goodman is mentioned, and there's a direct quote here, how this individual thought of family tradition as being a particular road of literacy of how they started playing music. So again, that's hopefully very helpful to you. Come prepared to share in class, but you're going to be sharing in small groups. I'll be putting you in breakout rooms. Come prepared to only be able to share only 2 to 3 of your events. You can't share all 8 to 11. And make sure that you upload this to the assignment box on La Lima by the deadline so that I can respond to you. Again, I hope that this has been helpful in your understanding of what's due. And I cannot wait to read your timeline events and these literacy profile boxes. Again, you will upload these as well. You can do it in all one document, or you can do it in 2 to 3 different documents. It's all up to you. As long as it's all there, you will be meeting the expectations of this assignment. And just to lower anxiety, please recall for this first assignment, if you are not happy with the points that you were earned, you are welcome to do a redo, since this is the first time and you're getting used to my my particular grading style, and we're getting to know you. Okay, thank you, everyone. Please follow up with any questions you have for me via email or text message. Thank you.